Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom, where knowledge becomes power and power builds your future.
You've been lied to about money your entire life, and the lie sounds so harmless, so responsible, so universally accepted that questioning it almost feels stupid. Save your money. The golden rule. The wisdom passed down from parents, teachers, governments, banks, basically every authority figure you've ever known. But what if the rule that's supposed to protect you is quietly putting you at risk? What if the thing you believe is making you safer is the very thing that's slowly making you weaker? And what if the people telling you to save know exactly why they're saying it? Today, we're going to break one of the oldest financial illusions humanity still worships. And by the time you reach the end of this video, you may never look at your bank account the same way again. Because this is not a story about spending or budgeting. It's a story about power, who has it, who loses it, and why the simple act of saving money has become one of the most misunderstood and dangerous financial habits in the modern world. But before we get to the shocking truth, we have to go back to a time when saving actually made sense. Back to when money behaved differently, when governments couldn't manipulate the value of your savings with a single policy decision, and when keeping your wealth in a vault meant you were getting richer, not poorer, with every passing year. The mystery starts here, and the twist you're about to discover is the real reason why saving today is riskier than most people will ever realize. Before modern banks existed, saving was simple. You worked, you earned, and you stored your wealth in something that held value across time. Gold, silver, land. These things didn't care who was president, what interest rates were, or what inflation target the central bank announced on a Tuesday morning. Saving was about preservation, and it worked because the money itself was stable. It didn't evaporate while sitting in your pocket. It didn't lose 10% of its value because your government printed too much of it. It didn't quietly shrink while you slept. But everything changed when one idea entered the world. The idea that governments could issue money not backed by anything physical, not gold, not silver, just trust. The idea that the value of money didn't need to be tied to reality, as long as people agreed to believe in it. This new system had a name: fiat currency. Money created by decree. Money printed from nothing. Money whose value depended entirely on the decisions of unseen committees, political motives, emergency policies, and national agendas. And here's where the story begins to twist. Because the moment fiat currency became the backbone of the global financial system, saving transformed from a wealth-protecting tool into something far more fragile, something exposed, something that could be destroyed silently from the inside out. And the people were never told. You see, in the early days of this system, governments promised it wouldn't be abused. They promised responsible printing, controlled inflation, stability. But as you'll soon discover, every promise made under this system eventually broke. And once you understand why it broke, you'll understand why saving money today carries far more risk than the average person ever considers. So let's continue. The modern obsession with saving truly exploded during the 20th century, especially after 2 world wars. Countries needed stability, families needed safety, And banks offered an easy solution. Put your money with us, and we'll keep it safe. Your savings will grow. Your future will be secure. It sounded perfect. Interest rates were high. Inflation was low. And the world was rebuilding itself. This was the era when your grandparents could literally save their way to wealth. A single income could support a family. College cost pocket change. A home was 2 or 3 years of disciplined saving. But the key ingredient, the thing no one talks about today, is that the money back then held value. $1 in 1950 could buy almost as much 10 years later, sometimes even more. Saving was safe because the system rewarded savers. But in the background, something else was happening. The global economy was transforming. Governments were taking on more power. Politicians discovered that printing money made their problems disappear, at least temporarily. And ordinary savers didn't notice the change until it was too late, because every printed dollar quietly stole purchasing power from the dollars already saved. At first, the theft was tiny, almost invisible. 1% here, 2% there. Nothing dramatic, but cause and effect never sleeps. The choices made in one decade echo into the next. And by the time inflation became a normal part of everyday life, the era of true saving was already dead. The strange thing, nobody told the public. Banks still encouraged saving. Schools still taught it. Parents still passed it down. But the financial system had flipped. The rules changed, and savers didn't know they were now playing a losing game. This is the moment in the story where the real danger begins. Then came the breaking point, the point in history where saving officially became a risky strategy. Even though most people never realized it, interest rates dropped, inflation climbed, wages stagnated, costs rose faster than income, and savings accounts, once the backbone of financial security, became traps. Places where money went to shrink, not grow. The math no longer worked. The system no longer rewarded patience. And something quietly sinister had replaced the old idea of saving, the illusion of safety. Because what is the point of saving if your purchasing power declines every year? What is the point of stacking dollars if the value of each dollar is evaporating faster than you can store it? What is the point of being responsible when the system punishes responsibility and rewards debt? Yes, rewards debt. That's the twist most people still don't know. Because when inflation rises, debt becomes cheaper over time. Not savings. Savers lose value. Debtors lose burden. This is the opposite of what we were taught. But wait, there's more. Governments around the world began using inflation strategically, not accidentally, not as a mistake, but as a tool that shifts power from individuals to institutions, a tool that slowly drains wealth from savers to pay for national agendas, a tool that lets those in control of the money supply manage the economy without openly raising taxes. Inflation became the invisible tax, a tax you can't vote against, a tax you can't avoid. A tax deducted automatically from your savings account every minute, every hour, every day. And suddenly, the risk of saving wasn't just theoretical. It was mathematical, predictable, guaranteed. Put money in a savings account today, And you're almost certain to lose value even if the number in your account stays the same. That's the trap. That's the danger. That's why saving today is nothing like it used to be. And yet, most people continue saving blindly, believing they're being financially responsible, when in reality, they're unknowingly losing more than they gain. But here's where the story gets even darker. History is a loop. It doesn't repeat perfectly, but the patterns return again and again. And when you compare the economic systems of today with the systems of nations that collapsed in the past, the similarities are hard to ignore. High inflation, high debt, low interest rates, wages unable to keep up, a weakening currency, asset prices skyrocketing, savers falling behind. Sound familiar? It should. Because these patterns show up right before major economic transitions and right before major wealth redistributions. Let's talk numbers. In the last 20 years, the cost of living in many countries has doubled. In some, it has tripled. But average savings account interest rates stuck between 0.01% and 2% for most of that time, meaning your money wasn't just failing to grow, it was shrinking in slow motion. A $10,000 savings account doesn't lose $10,000. It loses what $10,000 can do. It loses the groceries it could buy, the rent it could cover, the value it once held. And millions of people still haven't realized it. Why? Because humans think in numbers, not purchasing power. If a bank account says $10,000, we assume we still have $10,000. But inflation doesn't care about the number. It only cares about value. That's the psychological trick that keeps savers trapped. But the most concerning pattern, the one that shows up right before economic resets? Governments encourage saving the most. When saving is most dangerous, they want liquidity. They want control. They want your cash in the system, where it slowly loses value, instead of in assets that protect you. This isn't conspiracy. It's history. And today, the same institutions telling you to save more are the same institutions printing money, lowering interest rates, and pushing inflation targets that guarantee your savings will shrink. Cause and effect, over and over again. But now we need to ask the final question. If saving is risky, what should people do instead? And why does this matter more today than at any point in the last 50 years? The takeaway isn't to stop saving entirely. It's to understand what saving has become. A short-term tool, not a long-term wealth strategy. Saving protects you from emergencies, but not from inflation. Saving keeps you liquid, but not wealthy. Saving helps you sleep at night, but it won't protect your future. Here are the 3 truths most people need to understand now, before the next economic shift hits. Truth number 1, money loses value. Always. The system is designed that way. Inflation is not a flaw, it's a feature. And once you understand this, you stop treating cash as an investment and start treating it as a temporary storage tool. Truth number 2, assets protect you, not savings. Throughout history, wealth survives through ownership, not cash, land, businesses, skills, investments, even small. Consistent moves into assets will protect you more than years of disciplined saving in a shrinking currency. Truth number 3, The biggest financial risk today is doing nothing. Playing it safe is now the most dangerous strategy. In a world where money constantly loses value, inaction becomes a silent form of self-sabotage. Not making a decision is a decision, and it's usually the wrong one. And here's the warning you need to hear. The world is entering a phase of economic change that will reward the informed and punish the passive. Technology is evolving. Currencies are evolving. Governments are restructuring. The rules are shifting again. And in every period of financial transition, savers lose the most because savers rely on stability. And stability is the first thing that disappears during change. So if you take nothing else from this video, take this. Saving money is not enough. It hasn't been enough for decades. And the longer you believe the old rules, the more dangerous your future becomes. Now it's your move. If this video opened your eyes even just a little, hit that like button so more people can discover the truth. And subscribe, because we're going deeper into the hidden mechanics of money, power, and financial survival in the modern age. The world is changing fast. Make sure you're not left saving in a system that no longer rewards savers.